Hey everybody, my name is Jared and I am a Master Mason in the state of Mississippi in the United States of America. And back in the third section of the Entered Apprentice degree, as it is in the state of Mississippi, we are on to the portion about ornaments, and it reads, "The ornaments of a lodge are the Mosaic Pavement, the Indented Kessel, and the Blazing Star. The Mosaic Pavement is a representation of the ground floor of King Solomon's temple, and is emblematical of human life, checkered with good and evil. The beautiful border which surrounds it is emblematical of the manifold blessings and comforts which surround us, and which we hope to obtain by a faithful reliance on divine providence, which is hieroglyphically represented by the blazing star in the center." Now, this little portion in particular seems to be veiled in a little bit of controversy. Not in that it doesn't need to be there or that what it represents has any issue, but in that it has changed over time, apparently. So if you do not even research, just search this particular section and open up the first piece of information you find, you may well read it and be satisfied with the explanation and move on to the next thing. But the problem is, the more you read, if you open up the second, third, or fourth piece of information about these ornaments, you'll find out that there is some question about how they were originally presented, what they really mean, how they're presented now, and how they're presented in different parts of the world. So, I live in the state of Mississippi, so I'm going to talk to you about what's been presented to me and what understandings I've had and where those variations come up. So, I have never seen anybody question the Mosaic Pavement, and it's really easy to picture if you can just picture a chessboard or a checkerboard and the white and black squares. That's the Mosaic Pavement. And that's where we come in with the explanation of life being checkered with good and evil. And that sort of a balance, if I can use that word here, is a lesson that will be repeated to you if you go through all of the degrees. If you take the York Rite, if you take the Scottish Rite, and in other places, it is a lesson, and it gets displayed and portrayed and explained in many different ways. So, Mosaic Pavement, life checkered with good and evil. So, moving on. Now, the Indented Tessel. That is the way that it reads here in Mississippi. Indented Tessel. And it specifically says here that it is a beautiful border that surrounds it. So we're talking about the Mosaic Pavement and the Indented Tessel as if they were one symbol that has two different features of the design. And generally speaking, when you see this displayed, be it on a tapestry or a carpet or rug on the floor, be it a picture, whether it's displayed by a projector or on an actual like a poster tracing board, you generally see it as if it is a carpet that is checkered and that it has tassels coming around the outside of it. But there is some other wording that was used, and I think it's properly pronounced a tarsal, and I may be saying that wrong. But I like one explanation that I read, and I will leave that source material down below about how the words basically, to just make it real simple, represented a cord or a rope that was sometimes tied in with specific knots going around a lodge. And of course, cords and rope have a lot of symbolism in Freemasonry, so I can see where maybe that comes in. Now, is there anything wrong with the symbolism that has been adopted here in the state of Mississippi? Absolutely not. I think it's a great lesson that can be taken from that. And if we were to try to scrutinize every single thing that has changed or been adapted over the course of the last 300 years, I think we would just argue into exhaustion about whether or not something should have been changed or made better as we went along. So I'm not going to argue that point. I like it just the way it is, and yes, sometimes words get changed and meanings get improved, so take it for what it's worth. The last ornament we talk about here is the blazing star, and it too has a bit of discussion involved with it. I have specifically read from respected authors that the blazing star is the five-pointed star, and gives explanations as to why. And I have specifically read other authors who have said it is not the blazing star. And so I guess this sort of comes down to, we don't have the original writings where somebody said, I, Jared, put this star in this degree because of this. All we can do is sort of extrapolate on what what written record do we have, what oral history and tradition do we have to come back to. So usually you see this picture that shows a five-pointed star in the center of the lodge, and then and as if it is in the center of or on top of the mosaic pavement, and then that is surrounded by some sort of cordage or tassels on the border. Now, whether or not that blazing star is supposed to represent specifically a five-pointed star, and whether or not those points have meanings of any kind, whether the star is supposed to be an astronomical representation akin to what we talked about before with the starry decked heaven, or whether it is just supposed to represent divine providence, which here we're being taught is that we're hoping to be able to obtain those manifold blessings represented by the indented Tessel, those blessings that we want to surround us by the divine providence, which is being represented by the blazing star in the center of the whole thing. I, for one, will point out something that strikes my mind is that in the center of every single lodge is going to be a table or altar, if you will, that on top of it has the Holy Bible. So if you have a blazing star in the center and on top of it is the Holy Bible, I think we can start drawing some parallels or some things to try to make us keep that thought process going. So there we are, the ornaments of a lodge. I want to know from you the same thing that I always do. Do you have this particular portion of the lesson displayed in your lodge? Do you call it the Holy Bible or Sacred Volume of Law, or what terminology is used for you? And let's go there. Do you call it the Indented Tessel, the Indented Tassel, the Indented Tarsal, or what? And is there a description that you can share about what that is that supposedly goes around the lodge or around the mosaic pavement or borders the mosaic pavement, or however it's worded where you are? Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch. We'll see you next time. Bye.